Testing.
Testing. You want to do the sound clap?
Sound clap.
Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Howesit. Actually, I think this is the first or second proper one. I'm joined by my brother, Graham House. If you guys don't know him, he is the founder and CEO of Dirty Habits, right?
That's it.
That's it, man.
That's the project.
Can open up this beer quickly.
Yeah, already. I'll beat you to it.
Yes. So if you guys didn't know, right now he is heading to Tenerife. Where are you heading to?
Just move this over a bit so it's not
Yeah.
blocking the camera. Just landed straight off the plane from Cape Town.
Yeah.
A couple of hours off the plane. Here I am with Mark, finding this fantastic setup he has got going here. Looking super forward to seeing this podcast and how it's all going to go down.
Yeah.
Then
you got to go like very close to the bike as well.
very close to the mic.
Very, very close. You gotta make out with it a little bit. Cheers, bro. Nice to have you on.
Nice
finally.
to be here.
I've been speaking about this for like 2 months already, about wanting to do this and setting up. It's been a little bit of a mission, but I'm enjoying it so far. Man. What's been going on, Gray? I haven't seen you in a while. What's your trips heading to? You just told me, where were you going again?
So I'm on my way to Tarifa. There's the GKA World Champ Big Air going down there. So like the whole world industry gathers there for a week, and it's going to be a bit of mayhem, lots of karting, lots of partying.
Yeah.
They have the GKA Kartboarding Awards, and I was nominated for Best Social Contribution to the Industry.
Oh, that's cool, eh? You've always had a really good social media. Well, what Dirty Habits stands for, and you bringing on all these cool people, or what, the different water sports or extreme activities. If you guys didn't know that, Graham's brand, during summer in Cape Town, like all the pro kiters come, and it's probably one of the best times in Cape Town. You just go wild, end up kiting, drinking, just having like the best time ever.
Yeah, so I mean, Dirty Habits used to be all about that, about the good times, living your best life.
Yeah.
Parties, beers, asses. And that was a pretty good time while I was going. But as obviously I got a little bit older, my mind's developed more and had more like experiences, and we've just changed the direction a little bit. So now it's more about like taking care of your mind as much as you do your body, and realizing how important being an athlete, your body is. Like, you have to look after it so well.
Yeah.
But to compete and to maintain all that stuff at a really high level, you just have to be aware of your mind, because it can be your best friend or your worst enemy.
Wow, yeah. I think that's one of your big topics you did quite... When was it? It was about a month ago you spoke about that? Or it's a big thing carrying on with mental health in extreme activities, right? Or just in general?
So about a year ago, I did my first public post. It was just after, in the midst of COVID, and everyone was losing their minds a little bit and stuff, and I could see everyone falling apart around me, including myself. I think people are it's so easy to hide and to mask all those things when you've got an active, busy life and you're on the water all the time and getting lost in your activities. But when you're locked in a room by yourself for a couple of weeks, and you have to spend time with yourself, it really becomes something different.
Yeah, things go a little bit star crazy, don't they?
Yeah.
We've all had like our fair shares of going through different stages. Life's pretty crazy. I've told you that a few times on some voice notes. But I don't think people actually realize how much a person is actually going through as well. And it's quite cool to understand that with extreme athletes. I think I saw Michael Phelps the other day, or I think Christy, who's my partner, said that he struggles on his downtimes when he's actually training, because he has such a high limit to uphold or something. And you don't really ever think about that. You just see the guy competing and it's like, wow. But in the background, it can be quite hectic, right?
For sure. I mean, every person has two personalities, the one that everyone sees and then the one that they actually are. And some people see it more when you're on a big stage, but for me, people see me and Dirty Habits as one thing, and to live up to that has been hard. And to walk into a bar and everyone's like, "Oh, Mr. Dirty Habits is here, tequila time, like let's set someone's hair on fire, let's do something crazy, jump off a roof." So I've always had that personality, and then I slowly realized that there's actually like two sides to it, and a lot of athletes, they have to put this front up because they got sponsors paying them and their competitors are looking at them. So there's all this stuff going on, and they have to maintain this perfect lifestyle. But in their heads, I haven't really got deep with many guys who don't have any issues when they're competing at that level. I mean, not even just athletes, just regular people.
Yeah. It's actually quite interesting as well, because you're super creative, and the way you've brought Dirty Habits onto the face of the planet, it's almost like your baby. And I feel like you've said it before, it's a true representation of yourself. So it's I don't think people realize that, and I think it happens with a lot of other people as well. Like you feel like you're responsible for it, and you want everything to just happen naturally and be what you are with it. I don't know how to explain more about that. Maybe you better.
Yeah, so it's almost become Dirty Habits is an extension of myself, and it started off, and obviously now it's bigger than that, and it's a brand, and different people follow it for different reasons. So I've had to like try and separate it, but it's really just been my personality. Of wanting to connect people and bring people together and do awesome things and inspire people and all those kind of things. So there was just the history of it is when I was in school, I didn't have any mates. People didn't like me at school. Didn't fit in any groups. Was kind of like a misfit, and I just felt like that hugely affected me in growing up, because I wasn't part of any tribe, and that's like to your core of your human nature is you belong in a tribe, and if you're not in that tribe, you're gonna die in the wilderness because you're all together. So it's like that feeling is really a survival feeling, and me not having that really affected me. And I've actually started a group and a tribe, and slowly that had a name called Dirty Habits, and people thought it was cool and everyone wanted to be a part of it, and we made fun videos, brought people together and community events, and slowly this tribe has become like a flag to a bunch of misfits who don't fit in a tribe, and now they can put on a Dirty Habits t-shirt or have a sticker on the back of their car, and they'll be like, this is where I belong.
It's if you look here, we actually are wearing we have two Dirty Habits shirts.
Well, this is actually my dad's shirt, because my luggage didn't arrive on my international flight, so I'm wearing Mark's dirty pants. And
they're not too dirty.
And my dad's favorite shirt. So
man, that's. Yeah, how was your flight here? I saw you with a champagne in first class.
That's one of the perks of having a dad who's a pilot. I mean, it's that old joke. Nick Jacobson and I started that Facebook group called Brokeback Billionaires.
Oh, that was cool. Lighting each other's like feet on fire with stuff. Wow.
Because we live these lives, like people, if they follow our Instagram or any pro athlete or myself, it just looks like we millionaires just on yachts and first class and fancy villas and stuff. Most of the stuff, we don't pay for any of the things because people invite us to. Is that me?
I think so. I think mine's still rolling.
Yeah, no, that was my alarm, and it's going to go off again because I don't know what that alarm was for. But I should probably turn it off. Give me a second.
Yo, this beer tastes quite good.
It does taste good. What is it?
It is a Mythos. They are very, very nice Greek beers. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what they are.
Is this, you plugging in a sponsor here?
I'm plugging in, you know. Was it over the age of 18 or I think 21? So drink responsibly, my friends.
So how's this podcast been going for you?
It's been going actually really, really well. I've just been having trial runs with Max, Christy, and so on. I just want to check something, Gray. I think Excuse me. Excuse me. I think everything that just happened with timers and that, I had a feeling the video turned off. You don't want the video to go off, man. That's where the real action happens.
Yeah, well, you got a mirror behind there, so you can actually see what's still going on.
You know, the only thing about that is I'm quite blind. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, that's why these are my HD sunglasses.
Yeah, you
put these on and I can see.
Damn, it's gangster.
Yeah.
I actually dig a lot of the podcasts with like rappers. They just sit there with their glasses, just like on something crazy, just like you know, it's I don't know, it brings something to the table. I think, yeah.
I think you got to have that cool factor to be able to do that. Otherwise, you just look like a knob.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like a lot of people, they suit when they're out wearing glasses, and a lot of people don't. Yeah, it's interesting to think about that.
I mean, it's cool. Like your podcast here is looking like really legit, and you put a lot of research into it. I've done many podcasts in the past, but they've never been an official sat-down podcast. It's usually just having a camera with a microphone or using my phone to record, and just because I have such interesting conversations with like some of the top athletes in the world, and often we'll just shoot a video and I'll just cut that up and put it up into a podcast.
Yeah.
But I've never actually sat in front of a podcast mic with headphones on. So
it's so weird, right? You feel like you're in another world in a way. You guys, like one day if you do come onto the podcast, it could happen. You'll get to experience this, and it honestly is the best. And I've been always wanting to do this. I spoke about this with Max, my Russian mate. You haven't met. When you meet him, you'll wow. See, he's a bit wild. Definitely fit into the scene. But. Yeah, what was I saying?
About the podcast, the setup and just getting it started. I mean, I think a lot of people want to know, like everyone's wanting to start their own podcast, and you've put the research in and invested all the gear. I've always been too nervous to invest in the gear and not use it. But I mean, from the day you started, like how much money have you spent up on this setup? How much effort have you put into it?
Well, so I actually will take my hat off for Adrian Kerr, who does Podcast 360.
Yeah, I've been on one of them before.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you spoke about me crashing into the groin of my kite. I think that could be an interesting topic as well. But yeah, he helped me a little bit. He actually has these mics, the Rode Dynamic podcast mics. They're very good. They don't pick up any noise anywhere else. And then I researched more into it, and I looked at the Complete Audio 6. Don't want to give you guys too much information, steal my setup. But yeah. And then
if you want to rent a podcast studio, Mark's got a perfect studio here. Just pull in and you just got all the gear ready to go.
Yeah, anytime. And then I got up the lights. I did, because as you guys can see, there's a background light there. And I didn't want to close the curtains because I think it brings some ambience into the background. So I got lights. I just did so much research at the end of the day. You know what's really cool? Apart from me actually doing my proper job, like I really enjoy doing this. Like it's my hobby. Like I sat down with Final Cut Pro after buying it, went over all the shortcuts yesterday, started color grading. And, you get stuck in some situations where you don't want to evolve. And it can be a bit hectic. Like, I think that sometimes can be a dangerous place because you always got to be a student at the end of the day. Keep your mind busy, learn new things. I don't know if you...
Yeah, I mean, it's like I've been listening to a lot of Andrew Huberman's podcast lately, and he's like a neuroscientist, and he speaks about the way the brain functions and depression and dopamine and ADHD and stuff, and it's just blown my mind because it's really put a lot of science to what goes on in my head a lot. And then one of the things he speaks about is in ADHD is that you struggle to focus on pretty much anything. You have like zero focus when it comes to anything. But if it's something that you're really interested in or really passionate, you get hyper-focus.
Wow, yeah.
And
hyper-focused. I like that. Yeah. Hyper-focused is cool.
So, like, for me doing my accounts, it will take me, like, 2 weeks of doing 15 minutes at a time. And then I end up doodling and doing everything else. But if I'm writing a new business proposal or coming up with a new concept, I can have dinner, go sit down and start typing and Next one, it's 3 a.m. and I've just been writing pages and pages, and it's so hyper focused.
Wow.
But yet I can't even. I'm like a Labrador chasing a ball around most of the time when I need to do any other task.
You know what's crazy is Christy has so much ADHD as well. I've actually been saying to her, I wonder who has more, you or Christy, who's I said earlier on, my partner. And like with her, I feel like she always keeps her mind busy. Like she never really goes into a spot where I've never seen her in a spot yet. We've been dating for a year and a half and I've known her longer. I've never seen her in a spot where I don't know how to explain that stage where you're in self-doubt or you're not in a great period. She's always going forward, keeping her mind busy. And I think that's where, like, for a person, it's important to find that what do you call it? That home spot. Like for me, going to the gym, not a lot of people see this, but they think like gym guys are like too arrogant. They think that a lot of different things, but it's actually they go there to like fight the demons, clear their head, feel better. And it's there's a lot of research gone behind it where it really, really helps your mental state. And that's one of the coolest things I like. At the end of the day, at the start of the day, I like gymming. I like getting in there, smashing up the weights. Like it's almost like you're fighting your mental health and you feel fantastic after. Like I can study for hours. Because I also have a little bit of ADHD and it was so hard to study at school. I don't know about you, and after gym, I feel like super released, relaxed, and I can just go hours. I like almost zone into my paper, and I end up doing like a whole A3 of notes and on the back, and I found that eventually, which was really cool. I don't know what your technique is. But.
Yeah, so if you listen to that Huberman podcast, he speaks. I'm terrible at retaining information, so I might say completely the wrong thing here, but it's all about dopamine levels and how your brain like receives them and transmits them and all that kind of stuff. So people with ADHD, they tend to like not manage the dopamine very well or have very low levels of dopamine. And then they end up searching for it in other things, like a lot of times it's substance abuse and drugs and or extreme sports or activities or whatever. So it's like my thing is just my mind's always so busy, and I think my problem is that I just have a super busy mind. It just never switches off. It's just spinning 100 miles all the time.
Wow.
But then when I'm doing a sport, then you can actually put that attention into something. And then you get really hyper-focused. You get in the flow state, which is also a bit of a hippie term, but that's just like when you're out of your comfort zone and you're learning something new. So you're progressing and you're out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So then you have to be really focused, pay attention because there's lots of risk and stuff. And then I can just go for hours, and that's the best feeling in the world. And after I come off the water from a session like that, my dopamine is just through the roof.
Yeah,
I feel like I can take over the whole world.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I can see your different levels of like happiness as well. Like when I think it's Dad, myself, you, and Craig as well. Like we have to keep our minds busy, and if we go and do like a cool water sport or something that makes us happy, it automatically changes our happiness. Like we can be a real pain in the ass sometimes. Like you have no idea, but it all changes after like we do like a sport we like. You know, it's pretty wild. I think that happens to other people as well, but.
Well, I think there's so many different ways of boosting your dopamine. I mean, it can be, I do cold showers every morning. So every morning I wake up, every winter, cold shower, have a empty jacuzzi at home, which is cold all the time. And that gets to like 10 degrees in winter. And every morning, even before the flight, just hop in there, sit in there for 2 or 3 minutes. It just like changes the oxygen levels in your body, helps with like anti-inflammatory, but also just boosts dopamine.
Wow, we've had some good times in that jacuzzi. There's been some. I think you've had more, but even just be it's that house of yours in Brokeback Strand. It basically you can see what would you say that side of Cape Town is?
Brokeback. That's
just like Brokeback Strand, right?
Kite maker, best kite spot in the world.
Well, yeah, like Graham and Candace's house, just looks over the whole of Bloberg Strand, and you can see going up towards CBD, which is the town.
Yeah, it looks onto Table Mountain, which is like, it's called Table Bay. So that whole bay is just, it's like the North Shore for surfing, but of kiteboarding. So the best people, the best kiters in the world all come out there for 6 months or 3 months and just train. Red Bull King of the Air goes down there. The best kiting you've ever seen. Top athletes, surfers, everyone comes out to Cape Town for the summertime.
Wow.
So it's just absolute mayhem.
I think that's the craziest time I see you in. Apart from that, you hibernate a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
You get down, like you spend you started doing that 5 a.m. club, right?
Yeah.
You wake up at 5, sit down, do all your work. But in summer, you'll just see Graham running around, like getting everything done. It's almost like he's running this big event, Red Bull King of the Air.
But no, I'm not. I mean, I'm just hustling off the side of it.
Exactly.
There's so many opportunities there. So
Yeah.
I just do car confessions, where I do pretty much podcasts with the athletes in a Porsche. So yeah, we do all sorts of things that just maximize it. Everyone's there. So I just see these like 6 months of summer. I have to just go full on, do everything, and then the day everyone leaves, pretty much stop drinking, stop partying, hibernate.
Yeah.
Like I have zero balance in my life. There's it's nothing, but I don't have, like, if there's one thing maybe I'd want a bit more of, is finding a little bit of balance.
Yeah.
Because I'm just full on in summer, all on,
Wow.
working, partying, kiting, doing everything, and then winter I've just like shut down. Don't answer my phone. Don't even try to call me. Early morning surfs and sitting by my computer.
Yeah. I remember that one episode with, I think it was you, Lassa, Kevin, or maybe Nick in the car, and then Kevin, I think, said to you, what did he say? He's like, Graham, have you ever driven a car like this before? And you're like, yeah, I've driven your mom's car. Man, that was so funny. You guys like make fun of each other. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's so funny because these guys are all the best kiters in the world, and it's like, to be a pro kiter and to be the best, it's not really a huge achievement, because kiting is quite a small industry, and like compared to soccer players, F1 riders, whatever. But there's still a level between fans and pro athletes, and they seem kind of untouchable, and the perception you get from them online is very different to what they are in real life. But I'm fortunate to be able to know a lot of those people as friends and see what they really like, and that's it's just amazing that everyone's just normal people at the end of the day, but they put out these perceptions to people that. So yeah, that's one of the things about the documentary we're doing, is just like what is behind impressive social media platforms, because what you see is not what you get.
Yeah. Out of all the times you've had all the pro athletes around, or your friends, what would you say is the craziest moment you've had? Like, if you can, I know you've had a lot, but if you can pin one exact moment where you think like, wow, this is insane, what would it be?
Man, there's different levels of it. There's
Yeah.
on the party side, on the almost dying side, like there's been near deaths many times.
Jeez.
Lost a bunch of mates already from extreme sports, suicide, lots of crazy things. Just it's a wild to be surrounded by a group of people who know nothing else but to push the limits in everything they do, whether it's on the water, whether it's doing their sport, whether it's partying. Everyone's just like up on the edge of a cliff the whole time.
Yeah.
And maintaining that is super hard. So, but there has been some fun times, guys. Taking dumps down chimneys while people are brying below. A lot of stupid things. But I like to think we've progressed a little bit more out of that.
Yeah. It's good. Everyone, you gotta have those good times, but you also gotta balance it out with some, a bit. What do you call it? Bad decisions make good memories.
Yeah,
that's one of the craziest sayings I saw when I was little, and I'm not gonna say what was on the picture, but yeah, it made me think, like, when you're with your mates, it's always the bad things you do. Well, not bad, but like all the crazy stuff that you do, you remember it more than the good times as well. Like, obviously your brother or whoever, sibling, a relative getting married, or but all the hectic stuff that is almost like a life blip. I don't know. you remember it more.
For sure. Well, I think when it involves risk also, and there's it just sticks in you because you realize, well, that was dangerous, and you almost have to replay that memory a couple times, and it becomes a lot more real. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many crazy things that go down. But also realizing that Dirty Habits has a large following now, and a lot of people who look up to us and look up to the athletes that are doing it. So trying to change that message a little bit, and obviously I'm not perfect. I've changed a huge amount over the last year, but I'm still Graham. I'm still the guy who's, if there's a nice soft green bush, I'm going to be jumping in it.
Bush dive. Dude, I learned that off Graham. We actually, the one night I was with my mates Conrad, Duan and Miles, and as Graham just said, they've done some bush diving, and we decided to go fuck up this whole hedge outside our own house.
You don't shit where you eat, do you?
Yeah, we put in so many holes. It was actually ridiculous. And the next morning, everyone knew it was us.
Because it was right in front of the house.
Yeah, it was in front of the house. Man, it was so bad. I don't even know. My mate Conrad, he's from South Africa, and he came and visited in Dubai, and he made us do the snail trail challenge where you put shots, and I think you play with a card or dice, and whatever you land on, you have to take those shots. So imagine you land on 6, man. You do 6 shots, and you're like, you're already on the table, like, it's wild. I feel like all the craziest, like, good memories have been when I'm out with my mates, drinking a little bit, enjoying. Everything just goes like 10 times crazier, I think.
But it's also it's such a short amount of time. It just you think about that night. It feels like the night's over so quickly.
Yeah.
And it's been really hard for me to like not drink I mean, I definitely see a day of me not drinking in the future.
Yeah.
And normally winter, like last winter, I didn't have a drink of anything for 6 months. I just completely like detox. And I wish I could maintain it, but I have so many things in my head that like gives me more confidence and makes those fun moments. It's like that stuff wouldn't happen if you weren't drinking. And yes, it all would. And yes, you would. You do have the confidence inside yourself to not be able to rely on alcohol. But and I love drinking. I love the personality that comes out and stuff. But the goal for me would be able to do all those things without it.
Yeah.
So I'm working towards it, getting closer to it, but it's still a daunting thing in my head.
Yeah, I think, it's weird when you you stop drinking and then you have to get back into reality. It's almost like you don't want to drink anymore because you get used to the fact of it. It's really strange. Whereas for me, if I'm vaping, don't vape, guys. Don't smoke. It's not good for you. It's a problem, man. Honestly, for me, vaping now, it's much more intense than drinking. Like I can get drinking without a problem, but with the nicotine, I think it's just another whole level. It's especially with 50 mg vapes. Like you hit three puffs or 2 big ones and 1 small one. You're like on the bed, like thinking about the world. Yeah, it's wild.
So I think nicotine is one of the most hardcore drugs. It's like and the whole thing about dopamine levels and ADHD and stuff. A lot of people with ADD are a lot more prone to using substances, using drugs, drinking, smoking, because it's like we lack this level of dopamine firing in your brain to try, and nicotine gives you huge dopamine like a release or whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, I've had a struggle with nicotine pretty much my whole life. It's like used to smoke a Rollies, then I got onto a box of Lucky Strikes a day.
Lucky Strikes.
Yeah, then stopped smoking for 2 years. Now I'm on Snooze, the little.
Is that the Fox things you left in the US? Yeah. It was funny when we were back. We've got a cousins group, and when we were back all home and that, who was it? It was our cousin Ryan, who's my dad's brother's son. Yeah, I got that right. He ended up finding Graham's like what do you call it? It's a
Snooze. It's a little tea bag of pure nicotine. That's not It's not burnt like
Yeah.
tobacco, so it's a lot more healthy for you.
Yeah.
But it's still nicotine.